Platinum X here once again with another playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. This time it's going to be Lae'zel. Let's go ahead and listen to her introduction.
Since I was born in the cold reaches of wild space, I have known but one purpose: to wield a silver sword and ride a red dragon in service of my regent, the Githyanki Queen Vlaakith. My first step on this path is to slay a mind flayer and bring its head to my queen. There is no flesh I will not carve, and no barrier I will not shatter to see it done. I am the one who sunders. I am the Undying Queen's most unshakable warrior. I am Lae'zel of Kalair.
Okay, so she's Vlaakith's most unshakable warrior. Well, that actually seems to be the case, since she's still, like, her purpose is to wield a silver sword and ride a red dragon in the service of the queen. Well, she has to take the head off a mind flayer and bring it to Vlaakith. Well, she failed. She's kind of a disgrace. She's a captive who's been infected with a tadpole. So, again, failed. But she is unshakable, so her purpose has not changed. So she clearly demonstrates her unshakableness, whatever, and is still all about serving Vlaakith. Alright, so she is a Githyanki, and they do get astral knowledge, which is gain proficiency in all skills of a chosen ability. We'll keep that in mind when we get over to skills. And can cast Mage Hand. And then all this stuff is irrelevant because she is also a fighter, which has all weapon proficiency, simple and martial, as well as all armor proficiencies, light, medium, heavy, and shields. Now, the fighting style can be changed. However, she's has great weapon fighting, which is when you roll a 1 or a 2 on a damage die for attacks with a two-handed melee weapon, the die is re-rolled once. So this just helps, be more consistent with higher damage by re-rolling those 1s or 2s. Considering the silver sword is two-handed sword, and there are other two-handed swords that, if wielded by a Githyanki, does additional psychic damage. So we're going to stick with great weapon fighting and be a two-handed weapon fighting fighter. But at later levels, like, I know at level 5 you'll get 2 attacks. And then I'm not sure what level it is. Is it 11? I think so, maybe 11. You actually get a 3rd attack as a fighter. And I believe you also get another fighting style. So being a two-weapon fighter, being a two-handed weapon fighter, that pretty much rules out dueling, protection, and two-weapon fighting for later. So later we'll focus on either archery or defense. But for right now, we're definitely going to stick with great weapon fighting. Background as a soldier, athletics, and intimidation. And now ability. So there's really not a whole lot about I called her Black. There's not a lot about Lae'zel to really change, except for her abilities. So strength and constitution is the same as her saving throw proficiencies. And of course the main thing for a fighter. So we're going to keep those bonuses just like that. But I hate starting with odd numbers simply because that odd number does nothing. A 16 is a +3. A 17 is a +3. So we're going to take that point out. Well, actually, it's 2 points. And then redistribute it to dexterity. Now, when you're wearing heavy armor, you don't get your dex bonus to armor class. But dexterity is still important in regards to saving throws, because I do believe a lot of the attack spells like Fireball and Lightning Bolt are dexterity saves. And then also initiative. So it's a bonus to initiative, saving throws, and ranged weapons as well. So like if later when I get that second fighting style, if I take archery, then I'll have, you know, that +2 and then another +2 from dexterity. So I'll have a decent bonus for a ranged weapon. Now you can use throwing weapons, and that goes off of strength, not dexterity. But again, there are other benefits to having some dexterity modifiers. And it will be a while before even getting heavy armor that would give you a better armor class than your starting armor class. Because that Gith Yankee half plate right there that she's already starting with is a 15 armor class with and it's medium, which allows for +2 bonus from dexterity. So that's 17. So it will be a while in the game. Like the soonest I know I can get some heavy armor that's 17 is plate mail in the mountain pass. But there's an encounter involved with getting that plate mail. That's not something you can just rush and beat. So again, we're going to go ahead and stick with a 14 dexterity. And then we're going to take these 2 points out of intelligence, pop them into constitution, giving us 16, 14, 16. And I really do not need intelligence or charisma. I mean, yeah, of course, they could be helpful for skills, but that's just not really, it doesn't really make sense for this character to take any points out of here. I mean, the one thing I could do is I could take dexterity down to 10 and then, you know, redistribute some of these points down here. But I'm just not going to do that. So we're going to go 16, 14, 16, 8, 12, and 8. Now skills. From being a soldier, she got athletics. That's the only strength skill. And then she's starting with acrobatics, which is dexterity. So again, we got another bonus from dexterity from the 14. Plus being proficient in acrobatics. And really, the only thing I know this does is help you, like, prevent getting shoved. So with athletics and acrobatics, anybody trying to push her or shove her should, well, not be successful. But I already know it's going to happen because, you know, those random die rolls aren't exactly random. Or I guess on that note, when I like fuss about random die rolls being BS, I've even posted like, yeah, okay, whatever, because it might be a glitch in the system they use for the die rolling where it gets stuck. I mean, I've literally rolled doubles on D20 back to back, and just way more often than it should be happening for it to be really actual random. I mean, can you imagine rolling doubles on D20s? I mean, that's just, I mean, sure, you got better odds of rolling doubles on D20s, I'm sure, than winning the lottery, but still, it's pretty crazy odds rolling doubles on D20s. And it just happens way too often. And especially when you roll doubles back to back. Like I roll double ones and then, like, you know, double something else. So yeah, it just might be a glitch in the thing, but then again, it's just, it happens way too often where the enemy is left with 1 hit point, or, you know, anyway, enough about that. But again, like, even though I've got athletics and acrobatics, I can still wind up getting shoved. So normally I would take off acrobatics, but remember that when I said we were on racial abilities or racial skills, and we have astral knowledge. Well, astral knowledge, let's go back and look at it. Gain proficiency in all skills of a chosen ability until long rest. So that pretty much gives you proficiency you can always have proficiency in, like in this particular case, since I'm going with a low charisma and a low intelligence, that pretty much leaves wisdom. And I've got a 12 wisdom giving me a bonus there. So I could always have proficiency in all these wisdom skills. So I'm going to take off survival. And these wisdom skills are a lot more important than some of these. Well, intelligence. Intelligence really is just, it's information stuff. It's not really anything like necessary. You know, it's just, okay, you reveal some information. Like lore type stuff. Which, I mean, can definitely be useful for like inspirations. Like doing successful checks will unlock some inspiration. So, I mean, they're useful. Sure, all skills are useful. But since I'm going with a low charisma and a low intelligence, I'm pretty much going to use astral knowledge just to always have proficiency in these wisdom skills, because something like perception is one of the most important skills, because that's what spots hidden things, secret doors and hidden objects or hidden like containers or whatever, as well as spotting ambushes. So perception is one of the most important. Survival, I used to think survival was really important because you're all the time walking around rolling survival checks, and you pretty much know there's a chest buried. So honestly, I don't really know, I can't think off the top of my head where I rolled a survival check that wasn't involving a buried chest. Well, the thing is, and I don't remember the name of the video that I watched, so I apologize for that. I you know, definitely give credit where it's due, but you know, I used to think survival was important because of that, but then I watched the video where somebody said, well, if you failed the check, just go to your inventory, click on the shovel, and dig anyway. And sure enough, chest still pops up. So anytime you're rolling survival and you fail, just go to the inventory, click on the shovel, and dig anyway, and you'll find the chest. So survival's really not that important. But perception is. Medicine, there's a few instances where medicine, not really, I don't really know how useful it is, to be honest. I just know there's a few times where it pops up. But insight can definitely be important in a few dialogues throughout the playthrough. And then animal handling, once again, there's a few occasions where animal handling can come in handy. But honestly, I really don't like going through a playthrough with a low charisma, but I just don't see taking points away from anything else to boost that charisma. You know, it's just, she's a fighter. Which is a little crazy that intimidation falls under charisma. Intimidation should be like strength. But, you know, it is what it is. We've got the... We got to deal with the rules that we don't make ourselves, right? So, yeah, I'm pretty much going to use astral knowledge for wisdom so that I always have proficiency in all these skills, which makes Githyanki pretty good race as far as skill proficiencies go. I mean, I'm thinking about a bard. Hell, like a Githyanki bard would just have insane amounts of skills. Which really only leaves acrobatics. I'm going to leave that there, and then history. Which, you know, it's kind of seems like a wasted skill point, but again, I'm pretty much going to always have... Now, again, I could change those 2 points from acrobatics and history and put them in insight and perception, and then use use astral knowledge for charisma, and I could knock those 4 points out of dexterity and pump them into charisma. But nah, I think I'm just going to leave it just like this and go with it.
You What is this game of trickery? Where am I?
So she's pretty disoriented. But like I said,
Incinerated. Not everyone
she
is
basically
fated to
failed.
survive. This will do.
Like, she was supposed to kill a Githyanki. Or not a Githyanki, I'm sorry. She was supposed to kill a Mind Flayer and bring its head back to Blacketh. Well, she got captured and infected instead.
Dead. If only I'd slain it myself. I feel refreshed.
Now, the whole point of this is basically just to have fun, kind of playing with all the origin characters, just to show the story from their point of view. So I'm trying to like stay in character and, you know, so when it comes to something like this, well, even if you fail this perception check that's about to roll, the perception check doesn't really, it says, oh, you see the brain quivering, you know, so it's like, even if you fail,
Yes, you've come to save us from
Lae'zel knows what this is. I mean, she's a Githyanki,
free us.
and the Mind Flayers are like their arch enemy. So that's all the perception thing does, is it quivers. You know, whoopee. You still find out, I mean, you still know already, without the die roll, that that's an intellect devourer, a minion of the Mind Flayer. So there's no way that Lae'zel would walk around with an intellect devourer. So this is a Githyanki specific option, a pet of Gake scum. Destroy the intellect devourer while it's vulnerable. Now, if you free it and it tags along with you, you can encounter it again later. It's called Us, and in Act 2, and then it acts just like a pet, just like the dog Scratch, that you can summon into battle. But again, there's no way Lae'zel would be walking around with an intellect devourer. And then this is where you normally encounter Lae'zel, and in her place, this is a unique character that you can only find if playing with Lae'zel. But he's not permanent, he's temporary. He dies when the...
You still live. May the Queen's favor be yours.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the Gith man's eyes.
By Vlaakith's touch. What is this? Skvar, the parasite has already taken hold. We must take you to a creche to be cleansed. But first, we must get to the helm. Yes, we risk turning into mind flayers. But purification will have to wait until we take control of this ship. Let us see what a soldier of Kresh Kalir can do.
Alright, so he's infected too, but again, he dies in the crash. So he's not a permanent companion, he is only a companion on the Nautiloid. Love these void bulbs.
This is your end. Taking a look.
And he is also a fighter, but he's got a longbow and a scimitar, and has defense. I'm going to give him another scimitar when this fight is over. But he does not have the 2-weapon style. He's got defense as his... But again, he's not permanent anyway, so, you know, it doesn't really matter.
Good. Continue to the helm.
The Nautiloid won't withstand these dragon attacks for long. Forward!
All right, now I'm going to end this right here. I just wanted to get to where I've got Lae'zel, I think his name is. Yeah, I just wanted to get to where I've got Lae'zel just to show. You know, he's a unique companion that's only available with Lae'zel, and again, is temporary and not permanent. So again, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more with the playthrough from Lae'zel's perspective.